Oh, you know what? I actually just, hold on a second. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hold on. I may have actually just went live accidentally. I did. Oh man, we're early. Are you okay with getting started early, sir?
That's fine.
Okay. I have to tinker around with some different stuff, and I clicked the wrong button, but we're live. Welcome everyone. Look, some people have already, wow, we already got 4 people watching. We'll get the pleasantries out of the way early, and I'll share it early. So welcome to everyone to Meet the Masters. It's Tim Watson here, joined today by my good friend, Master Drew Hobbs. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Is it? Well, yeah, I guess technically for another 5 minutes, it's the morning.
We're still in the morning, yeah.
How's it going?
Great. Just happy and surprised you asked me to do this.
Well, it's one of those things. If you're my friend and you happen to be a master, it's likely to come up at one point or another. And it's funny you say that. A lot of people say that as well. And I think that you have a unique point of view, and we'll get into your history. And you also have a pretty prolific instructor and friend in Master Robinson. So there's lots of stuff that we can talk about. So I'm excited to do that.
Excellent.
Let's get started. How are things up at the Dojang right now?
We're doing really well, actually. Getting ready for nationals, of course. We got quite a few new students coming in, and everybody's training hard.
For those, if someone doesn't know who you are, maybe talk about where you train and teach, and you are in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
I live in a little tiny town called Tunkhannock. That's where Master Robinson's from. Train at Robinson's Martial Arts. Teach all the students there. Have a good time doing it. It's what I love.
Yeah, I can attest to that. How have things? I know you have you started to travel a little more for work this year?
Not yet.
Okay.
Only made a few trips, so that's kind of been helpful. Being able to be around more for the studio. So I'm hoping that we don't start traveling anymore. I'm happy being home.
So
I'm a homebody.
Are you working from home mostly?
No, actually, I go into the plant just about every day.
Gotcha.
You caught me on a good day. I had to take my mother to a doctor's appointment this morning, so I'm home today.
Nice. Yeah, I had a busy morning as well, taking kids to school and getting cars to dealerships, and
you have a busy afternoon too, right?
I always, yeah. And like you said, we're also getting ready for US Nationals. It's pretty exciting. We got about 40 competitors going. So
wow, yeah, we have about 28.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so excited to get a chance to, because if you think about it, the last tournament was 2 years ago, at least in Region 8, 2 years ago was regionals.
Right.
So yeah, I'm itching to, not that I get to compete.
No, but, we need a Masters division.
Master Hobbs is putting out there. We've talked about this.
I've already heard that he would compete in forms and weapons if we had one.
Absolutely. Well, forms and weapons, right? Yeah. Never mind sparring. We got some people saying hello. Barry, Mr. Lyons, Lindsay Dudgeon from the UK, Pete Kennedy, and Rebecca Talcott are all checking in, saying hi.
Hi, everyone.
It's exciting. Okay, so let's talk about how'd you get started in the martial arts? Like, what age you get started, and what led to you getting your start?
I was 9 years old when I started. My mom got me started due to some anger issues, I would say. My brother also trained before me. He started maybe 6-8 months before me. So I was kind of interested anyway, and you know, it's always interesting to walk in a studio for the first time and, you know, see these people wearing pajamas and yelling and screaming, and you know, it was a little different back then too. But to watch people work that hard, it's very intimidating the first time you walk in. But yeah, so I got started in 85, 86-ish with Mr. Chuck Freeman. Master Robinson trained there. He was one of the instructors. You know, I watched these interviews and everybody knows exactly who taught him the first class and everything. I can't remember that. I have a hard time remembering yesterday. But you know, I do remember how intimidating it was, right? You get on the floor and it was one-on-one, but you're still out. You know, most schools have smaller floor space that, you know, I know we do. You know, we send beginners in the back where they're one-on-one and it's kind of quiet. When I started, you're out on the main floor. You might be one-on-one, but you still have all the other action going on. So yeah, I got started in 85, 86. Master Robinson actually split off and opened his own studio. He can correct me if I'm wrong, probably 90s, 98-ish, probably. So I went with him.
I mean, 88?
Yeah, about 88, 89, I think. He'll
Okay.
correct me, I'm sure, later. And that's actually where I first started teaching.
Gotcha.
I was green, brown belt, you know, when he first started out, didn't have a ton of students. So a friend of mine, Nathaniel, he was there. He was a little ahead of me, and we happened to be going to school together. Here we have 4 elementary schools within like a 2-mile radius, 3-mile radius. So we actually don't come together until like 5th, 6th grade. So it happened to be around that time, and it just happened that we were in school together. So, I mean, it wasn't much different than now. You know, we went to school and we left school and walked to the studio and opened the studio and mopped floors and got things ready, taught classes, and yeah, it was a little different back then.
Yeah, you said that earlier, and I was just about to ask what. So, could you tell us what do you mean by that? What was so different?
Well, everybody walks in and trains on mats now.
Right.
That wasn't the case. You were either on hardwood or concrete. Everybody kicks pads now. We kicked antifreeze cans. That was awesome. It was kind of a different mindset, you know. Back then, well, I was on the tail end of it. I've heard Master Robinson tell stories about it, but you know, they didn't want kids and women involved. So, and they only wanted the strongest ones. So they almost tried to break you, make you quit. Not like now, you know, we want everybody to experience it, right? For the benefits. So it wasn't that it was more difficult training. It was just a way different mindset, you know.
Right.
I remember getting corrected with a Shinai. Crazy things like Master Robinson walking in after the first class, and we all line up, and you know, it might be 95, 100 degrees out, and he walks across to the front of the studio and shuts all the windows. You know, it's like, okay, we're going to push you to your absolute limit, and you might break and you might not, but I think it's a little different now, like I said, because we want everybody to experience it. We know everybody has something to gain from it, whatever that may be. It's all personal to them. You know, maybe it's not getting to black belt. Maybe it's just being on the floor and moving. You know, we've had some students that have come in, and we had this dragon, and he always sticks in my mind. His grandparents brought him in, and the doctors had told him that he would never walk again, or he may lose the ability to walk. So all we did was work on agility and walking, and his grandfather actually built little steps, and we'd spend hours just having him walk up the steps and down the steps. And it was amazing to see the progress that he made. Yeah, that's.
No, I love that you said that, because, you know, some people want to have conversations about, you know, what kind of belts kids should have and shouldn't have, and whether they should get black belts and things like that. And I just think of all the people that I know, including yourself, and think of all the masters that we know that started as kids. And you're going to tell me that your belt doesn't mean it means less because you got it as a kid. Like,
right.
You know, I'm sure. Yeah. As a kid, could you have beat up an adult? No, but that's not the point. Like you said, the point is all of those other intangible things that you learn in the martial arts that are going to help you far past being able to punch hard or kick hard.
Right. And they, you know, they have their own hurdles that they overcome. And, you know, especially back then, it wasn't always about the next belt. You know, yeah, that was the exciting part of it, but it was just, it might be one day walking in and be like, man, I don't know if I can make it through class, and then making it through class.
Right.
And coming back, you know, it was almost like we were glutton for punishment. I don't know.
Yeah, we're a different breed. Your lovely wife says hello. Jose from Rivera from Puerto Rico says Tung Su, and Douglas Walk says hello, Master Hobbs. Memorable rides to the Masters Clinic.
Oh yeah, yes sir. Started out in a snowstorm. Drove in the snow for about 3 hours. Yeah,
I remember that year. It's funny you mentioned the hot temperatures at Robinson's, and whenever someone complains, like if the air conditioner is not on and it's 75 or, you know, close to 80 degrees at the studio, I was like, you have no idea how lucky you are, because I've heard the stories from Nikki and Mr. Hobbs.
Yeah, you have air conditioning.
Exactly. So yeah, I always get a chuckle when I think, like, man, it's hot in here, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, we actually have ceiling fans in the studio now. So
right.
Everybody, instead of people begging for the air conditioner to be on, they beg for the ceiling fans to be turned on.
So you can swirl around the hot air.
And everybody tries to position themselves under one. So.
Yeah, right. What do you think, if you had to look back as far as getting the start at a young age for martial arts, and we kind of touched base on that, but like for your personal experience and even experience as a parent, what do you think some of the benefits are of you know, that you experience or your kids experience?
I think the main thing is confidence. They gain confidence, you know, able to socialize with people, especially now, you know, it's a place they can go and actually socialize with people.
Right.
Just the physical part of it too. I know personally, you know, I wasn't the most athletic person in the world. I wasn't the fastest one on the playground, but the more I trained, faster I got. And, I remember, after training a year or two, I was beating kids racing across the playground that used to kick my butt. So, it's everything. It's the mental toughness of getting through classes or pushing through your anxiety to get through a test. People get real anxious and nervous about that stuff. I was talking about being nervous about doing this. So, butterflies like right before competing, it's not much different. But I think those were the main things that I gained, and my kids gained as well. I saw my daughter make leaps and bounds with anxiety and just socializing, especially kids with adults. Most kids aren't comfortable going up and talking to adults, but you see that the longer they train, they're able to walk up to adults in the studio and start a conversation, not necessarily be asked a question and answer. So I think that's a lot of the things that kids gain from it.
Yeah, especially I remember the first time my daughter got a chance to like warm up the class where it was kids and adults, and just seeing, she was probably 11 years old at that point, her being able to stand in front of a group of adult, 8 or 9 adults and lead exercises, and they say yes ma'am and follow along. It's
It's
proud dad moment.
yeah, absolutely. That's a big step, kind of a shocker for them. It wasn't a scheduled thing, I'm sure. You just kind of get thrown to the wolves.
I would say, is it? I've asked this a lot. It's never a scheduled thing when you start teaching.
Nope. No, not at all.
Hey, you're here, go help this person.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and you're there to help. Usually by the time you get asked to do that, you're a rank that you should be starting to get the idea that you're there for the other people. I mean, you really start to see that after black belt, but some kids get it.
Yeah. Here, this is a pretty exciting one for me. Master Javid says, one of my favorite masters.
Oh, Master Javid. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable martial artist he is.
Absolutely.
Father.
That's high praise from one of the best.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of talked about Master Robinson a little bit. So let's talk about Master Robinson, the instructor, like dealing,
from. I have lots of stories.
I know, and I'm excited to hear the ones that you can share.
I don't know if everybody hears it, but we hear the term crazy Master Robinson. Back then he was crazy. I've never seen anybody train like that before. He would do ungodly things, and he expected you to do them with him. And that was the other thing. He wasn't afraid to step on the floor and train with you, right? But crazy things we did. Break falls. You learned how to do break falls, and then you went out behind the studio in the bank parking lot and did break falls on the asphalt. That's how we did break falls. That's how we learned how to do break falls. You line up for class. Okay, we're going for a run to warm up, and you go for a 2-mile run. Of course, you didn't put your shoes on either. You ran barefoot, but he really pushed. He pushed us, and he pushes the students now. It's just in a different manner, more a little safer.
Yeah. I think
less beating of the body. He doesn't want people walking around in 20 years with injuries that they they have to get surgeries for, and so. But yeah, a lot of good hard training and memories. Just, the day-to-day training you might not remember, but when you throw in some of those crazy things, those are the ones you remember. Probably one of the most memorable ones was he had just gotten his appendix out, and we were getting ready for class, and Tony Gushka said, "Oh, we won't do much tonight. He just got his appendix out." Bad idea. We did jumping jacks for 50 minutes.
50, 50?
50. The whole class, we did jumping jacks. That's all we did. And he led us the whole time. People were stepping off, people were throwing up. And at the time, our studio was on the second floor. After class, I watched probably at least half or 3/4 of them go down the stairs on their rear ends. And the next day they didn't show up because they couldn't climb the steps. But that was probably one of the most memorable classes that had ever taken place for me.
Wow. Master Joe McCarty from Alabama says, good morning. I always love to see, talk about like a historian of our art. Like he's, the legendary pictures he's taken of his time with Grandmaster Baldwin and the Mudokwan is,
oh yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely.
What's great about it is you look back now, even 30 years later, and he's still the epitome of someone you want to follow and you want to be one of your role models. Like just the last month, he was leading the evaluation class and got out from behind the table and was just showing just low blocks, and just the power and the precision that he did them at is just, it's just one of those, it's in my head, it's like, and that's why you're one of my role models.
Exactly.
When it comes to this, what we do, like, he practices what he preaches.
Absolutely. Trains every day, and he leads. He's not afraid. I've seen him put on a white belt and step in the back of the class and join class. And you'd be amazed at how differently the people train when he's on the floor, and not just in front of the class. Just humble.
Yeah.
He does it. He doesn't want recognition for it. He told me, don't talk about me the whole time in your interview. But it's hard not to for me. He's the biggest influence I have in martial arts.
Yeah. You thought that he had put me up to this. Why did you think that?
I don't know. He's always opened the door and given me opportunities, to meet great people. My trip to Holland with him, I was never expecting that. He just turned around and asked me one day, "Hey, you want to go to Holland with me?" Yeah, sure. I don't know if everybody gets to experience that from their instructors. Maybe I'll get lucky one day and be able to do that for somebody else, but always opening doors and trying to make us better leaders, almost forcing us to be better leaders.
Sure.
Just in acts like that.
Yeah. So going back, at some point you're training in the martial arts and you take a break.
Oh, I took a break. Terrible idea. Bad idea. I regret it, but I also have to just leave it where it was. I got my black belt in 1990. I trained for 2 more years. I was a sophomore in high school, started playing sports, chasing girls, things like that, lots of distractions, and I quit. And I wasn't out of high school 2 or 3 years, got married, started a family, had a house, all sorts of other responsibilities, and always missed it. I actually stopped in one time, and I'm like, I'm going back. So I stopped in, didn't have a uniform, just trained in the back, and I think I made it through that class and maybe one other, and then it was something else in the way, or another excuse not to go, maybe.
Right.
But it's funny because my mother keeps everything, right? She hoards all the things that my brother and I ever had. As a matter of fact, here is a stack of all my GUP certificates. And here is my, I don't know if you can see it, that's my first Don essay written out. So yeah, she keeps everything, along with tons of pictures. She always took pictures. And we break out photo albums in holidays and stuff, and the kids start looking through them and asking questions. And my daughter finally turned to me, I think she was 10, maybe 11, said, I want to try it. I want to try it. So after 20 years, well, 18 years probably, I'm like, okay, let's go down to the studio and, you can see what it's like. So we snuck in the studio, and there's no sneaking in the studio with Master Robinson. He sees everything. But we sat in the back, and we're watching class, and he came over, and always the conversation, checking up on his students when they stop in. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I said, Mackenzie wants to try it. He's like, oh, okay, come on, let's go. We can go right now. And she's like, no. She wanted to watch class first. So we finished watching the class, and he came over and asked her what she thought. She's like, yeah, I want to try it. So his response was, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And he looked at me and said, bring your uniform. And that was it. That was all that was said. I showed up the next day, and I think that was that first class was a test to see how much I could handle, because I think we did just about every jump kick, every jump spinning kick, everything you could throw at me, I think we did. And I remember closing class, standing there, and I start swaying. I'm like, you can't pass out now. You made it all the way through class. Don't pass out at closing of class. But I made it, and I've been back ever since. It was something really special to be able to, come home and pick her up and go to the studio and do something like that with her. We talk about it all the way there, talk about it all the way home. I don't know what I would do if my family all hadn't joined in. That's also what makes it very special for me.
Sure, yeah.
And you know that everybody's all in,
Right.
and it's just amazing how much it spreads through your everyday life, because it becomes conversations at home or anywhere. And I don't know, it's just amazing. I don't know how else to describe it. Tons of proud moments. Getting promoted to black belt, all three of them. I'm a big sap, if you really know me. There's lots of tears, just super proud of them for just like anybody else, getting over huge hurdles and stuff. They really did well and continue to do well. Actually, my daughter, she's taking a break now. She's been off for the last 5.5 years or so because of college and grad school and stuff. And and she's actually talking about going back now.
Great.
So that'll be fun.
We had, and Gabe just said hi. He just tested for Edon.
Yes, yes, he's definitely all in.
Yeah.
He's come a long way. I kind of drug him in since his sister was doing it. So I drug him into it. He was probably 5, maybe 6, and he did okay. He was really goofy, like most kids at that age. I think he did it more because I drug him along. It wasn't like he truly loved it, but he kind of did the same thing as old man did. You know, he started playing basketball and baseball and football, you know, all the pee-wee leagues and stuff, and it was just too much. So he stopped, and he stopped for probably 4 or 5 years and came back as a teenager. And I'm really super proud of him over the last 5 or 6 months. I don't know what switch flipped or what, but yeah, he's at the studio 5 days a week.
That's awesome.
He just loves it. He loves to help teach. He loves to train, and that's all he talks about.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
We got some people chiming in. Master Olson from California says good morning. Rick DeMace says hi, Master Hobbs. Gabe, like I said. Michael Lee says hello as well. Tong Su. He's from Mozambique. So I know he's chimed in a couple of times. Mr. Lyons asked a question earlier about he talked about Master Robinson, but you shared some things as far as what he's taught you. He said, when are you going to start your sleep seminars?
Oh yeah, I'm known to take a nap or two.
Master Hobbs likes a good nap.
Yeah.
And who doesn't? I mean,
and for some reason, every time I fall asleep, somebody has a camera.
Of course.
So that means everybody thinks all I do is sleep.
You got to hide the phones and before you go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I try to teach, but nobody wants to learn. I don't know.
My kids still reject naps, and it's like there's nothing like a good nap.
No, nothing at all.
We're talking about being proud of your family, and I remember when your wife Jamie won the grand champion at the Worlds. That was 2018, right? It's hard to believe that.
Yeah.
We haven't had a World since 2018 at this point.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Oh yeah, that was amazing. Master Robinson actually came up to me right before we lined up, and he's like, Jamie won grand champion. I'm like, get out of here. So I run back to her, and I looked at her and said, make sure you bow. And she's like looking at me like I had 3 heads. And I went back and lined up, and then they called her, and she was just shocked. And we actually went to the beach after, and I think the cup probably spent more time in bed with her than I did at night. You know, she slept with a guy. I have pictures of her sleeping with a cup in bed. Yeah, that was awesome.
So let's talk about your competition experience. Actually, one of the things I didn't realize, so you left as a Chodan, so you came back and tested for Edon and Samdan? Yes,
sir.
I think the first time I remember seeing you or getting a chance to meet you, you were at Edon. When you were really starting to compete at most tournaments.
Yeah, I loved competing when I was a kid, but I was very hesitant about doing it after I'd come back. I did it more to comfort my daughter when she wanted to try it. Again, her pushing me along instead of me pushing her. But yeah, once I got back, I love it. I love the preparation. I love the people and the camaraderie at the tournaments. not so much the anticipation of being on deck and the presentation, but once you start your form, it's almost like you're the only one in the room. Yeah, I've met a lot of great people just in that realm. Like I said, I wish we could get a master's. You know.
We did the one off the books. You guys
Yeah.
came down to evolution.
Yep. Yeah. I remember that beating.
Well, you know, I also remember you not feeling that good that day.
Oh yeah, that was rough. That was a rough day. I think I also got a beating one time at Legacy before a leadership class, or might have been my shot on.
You came down to Kaizen, you and Master Robinson and a bunch of people.
Yeah, we came down for a sparring clinic down there too.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I'm always up for sparring.
Yeah, I don't mind too much now. Gabe beat the crap out of me the other day, and in my mind, that is unacceptable as a father. So I have to work a little harder.
That's right. You always got to let him know that you still got an edge on him, but it gets harder, as I'm sure. He's practically the same size as you now.
Yeah. He's about 2 inches shorter and outweighs me by about 20 pounds. So it's definitely just going to get harder from here on out.
Yeah. Robert McIver from Scotland says hello.
Oh, my brother from another mother.
That's right. He got a chance. You guys, he came to train up with you guys when they were here.
Absolutely.
Whatever that was.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun, boy. They know how to have a good time. That's for sure.
Gabe says, I still know it was only because I took your leg out. He's already learning how to cheat.
Yeah. They're secrets.
So if there's anyone out there that is watching this that doesn't train on a regular basis and keeps saying that they're going to do it, what's your advice to them?
Just bite the bullet and do it.
Don't get in shape beforehand.
No, don't even try that, because sometimes you'll get discouraged or come up with excuses not to do that at home. If you're forced to go somewhere and work out, you usually do better at keeping on track. I know if it wasn't for going to the studio, I mean, I work out all the time. I do firewood and I do, work around the house and stuff. But if it wasn't for having to go to the studio, I don't know if I would train much at all at home. So as far as sometimes we have people come in and say, oh yeah, I'm going to come back. I don't tell them much, I kind of force a little bit, but I just say, hey, I came back after 18, 20 years. You can do it. There's just an encouraging word. And I have shamed one person into coming back. I also had the help of his daughter. His daughter trained, and he'd come in and watch every class, and then I'd go over and talk to him. Hey, why don't you come back? I'm gonna. So then I got his daughter on the train, and she was pestering him at home and stuff, and he finally came back. So that was he trained back when I did, when we were kids. So it was good to see him back. Some of the other quote unquote old timers, Steve Garnecki and Jeff Mancuso are the other two in the studio that have come back. Our problem is we live in this little town, right? And all our kids come up through the ranks and they're super great. They get their black belts and maybe they're Edons and then they go away to college or go somewhere else to work. Not many people stay in Tunkhannock. So
Yeah, I always felt like when people come in and it's like, hey, you know where to find us. We're not going anywhere.
no, we're always here whenever you want to come in and work out.
We actually had a guy who came in last night. He trained with Master Priest probably close to like 20 years ago as a
Wow,
kid. And he came back in for the first night last night and took class.
that's
That was,
awesome.
that was pretty cool. Dana Scott was the same way. She trained with Master Godwin as a kid. And she was gone for 13 years. And
Really? I didn't know that.
yep. So it happens. You're a rare breed, but it
There's so
happens.
many, there's so many distractions in life in general.
Yeah.
People, my hat's off to people that come in and train regularly and stick with it.
Yep.
It's very easy to get distracted.
Like you said, it definitely helps when the family is in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the names we haven't talked about yet is Grandmaster Shin. So I wanted to talk about him, maybe some memories of him.
I honestly don't have a ton of memories about him. The only time I met him in person was at my Chodan test. I met him briefly, said hello. We got a picture with everybody from Robinson's, and that was about my interaction with him. I do remember black belt camps, a few with him, and but as far as knowing him personally, unfortunately, I didn't have any of those memories. Grandmaster Baldwin, though, I got to know him a little bit, and especially with the trip to Holland. Funny, we were over there. I was lucky enough. I got to participate in the Masters Clinic, the Black Belt Clinic, and then the Dutch Open. And I remember the night of the Sadan test, we're walking back from the gym before the test, and Master Robinson's like, "Oh yeah, I volunteered you to help conduct." I'm like, "You did what? What? Are you kidding me?" So I don't know who was more nervous, the people testing or me. So that was an experience. But after we finished their test, we were waiting for the advanced ranks to finish theirs. And I was sitting down, and Grandmaster Baldwin came over and sat down next to me and just started to ask me, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, why does my thought matter? That's what I'm thinking to myself in my head. Why are you asking me what I think about it? You see like Grandmaster Baldwin, Grandmaster Strong, and even senior masters and masters, coming up through the ranks. You look at them and you're almost scared to talk to them, and they look intimidating, especially Master Robinson. And he'll tell you it's just because God made his face that way. But yeah, it was just a weird feeling to have him ask me that. So we had like a 20-minute conversation, and the funny part is he doesn't forget anybody. He never forgot anybody. I remember when I was getting promoted master, he was tying my belt on. He said, "Hey, when are we going to Holland again?" And I'm like, that was, I don't know, 5 years before that. I'm like, how do you remember that? But that was probably the most memorable thing, was just having that conversation I also got to, he taught a class, Mackenzie and Master Robinson. I went out to Region 22 championship, and he actually taught a class the night before. And so we got to chat then too a little bit. Those are some of my fond memories of him. Just the conversations, watching him interact with people was amazing. When we were over there in Holland, we went on this boat ride, everybody, and he's sitting at a table with a bunch of people, and just, it wasn't about martial arts. It was all personal then. And playing games with him and everything. It was amazing. He was absolutely amazing in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he's one of the, many people that make this what we do as special as it is, because it's all about the relationships you build, and then that's what I think makes a martial arts association. But then when you bring it smaller, it's what makes a studio what it is, a Dojang. And like we've talked about, I feel like I've said for years now that I want to come up, and I still haven't done it, but I feel like Robinson's Martial Arts is one of those studios that just epitomizes the family aspect of martial arts.
Absolutely.
You think that comes down from Master Robinson? What do you think draws that or drives that?
I think a lot of it's Master Robinson, but the people there just mesh so well. Everybody's there to help everybody else. Nobody's there solely for their own personal gain. Everybody wants to see everybody do better. And, you get higher ranks encouraging GUP students, and then you have it the other way around. Everybody just wants everybody to do better and push themselves. We get together and have Christmas parties and picnics, and it's like a home style. We don't rent a big place where dinner's served. Everybody makes something and brings it in, and it feels like home. Master Robinson makes the studio feel like home. Everybody's comfortable there. Everybody shares stories. The kids are everybody's kids. It doesn't matter. It's unbelievable the amount of family everybody gains when they're there. You hear people talk about, oh, my martial arts family. That's true, but these people are true family. They, any one of them would be there for each other if they called and said, hey, I need help doing this, or I need help doing that. A group of us just went over and helped one of our students, clean up her yard and clean up stuff because she wasn't able to do it, or she got behind with it. But, there was no questions asked. Yep. Okay, we'll go. It's this day. Then another student, he suckered people into going over and helping him move a hot tub. Unfortunately, I was busy that weekend.
Oh, darn.
But yeah, we're just all here for each other, inside and outside of the studio. And I think that's what makes our studio special.
I agree. I'm pretty sure Master Robinson more or less said the very exact thing that you said as far as the whole family aspect recently that I heard him talking. So it's cool. Like I said, you pretty much said it verbatim as the way he says it, whether you realized it or not.
No, I did not.
You know, you can be family when you train on a regular basis, but it's different. Like I have some dear friends that I trained with years ago, and you know, I'm still very good friends with and see them quite a bit. You know, and years ago, the martial arts connected us, and then just the friendship and the bond continued far past that.
Right. Yeah. And even people that have trained and left, they're still family.
Sure.
You know, they could call any one of us and we'd be there, and vice versa. It like you said, it doesn't just stop with the martial arts.
One of the ways you and I got to be friends was your involvement in helping conduct black belt testing.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was
somebody gave me a rare opportunity to do such a thing.
well, it had nothing to do with me.
Same name.
Yeah, well, I guess was it probably through we did the conductor classes at black belt testing, or was it before? Did it predate that?
It predated that. Actually, I remember going along to watch some students test back when it was in the old gym, what was that, the YMCA or whatever?
Phoenixville.
Yeah, Phoenixville. So we went there, and I was just going to sit in the bleachers and watch. And we walked in the building. Of course, you had to park a mile away.
Yep.
And I'm standing there, and Master Robinson comes up to me and says, "Did you bring a uniform with you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Go get it." So I ran out, got my uniform, got dressed. He's like, they're going to need board holders. So hang around when it gets to that. And that's how it all started. You know, I started by holding some boards. And I mean, I always conducted in the studio. And I still do. That's, I think, maybe the only positive thing that has come out of this pandemic is masters are still allowed to conduct. But that's how I, just being around and helping out, holding boards, doing whatever. I think anybody can do that. Well, yeah. Yeah, we need a board holding class too.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how you get started. If you want to get into something like that, show the interest to help.
Right.
You know, nobody's going to turn you away from helping. I mean, you're here to serve, right? We're all here to serve, and that's just how you get more involved in doing such a thing.
Absolutely. I still remember where Aaron was like, I think you and Nikki started conducting, and it's just like, you look at the list of conductors, it's all right, who do we have? Okay, Nikki and Drew are in, good. Like you're already you start with a solid base, and then you know you got your leads. Is like, where's your lead conductors? All right, Nikki's definitely one, Drew's definitely one. And it's just, you know, as someone who watches, you know, figuring out how to
right
keep groups going.
I couldn't do it without learning from somebody.
Yeah.
There's tons of people that did it long before me that, I mean, you learn by watching too.
Yep, absolutely.
Watch and listen. And
I think that's a big lesson that some people don't necessarily pay attention to or listen. Like you were talking about Master Robinson and how he doesn't do certain things anymore. And the reason for that is because he made all those mistakes. Your teachers, you know, a lot of times the teachers make the mistakes for you, and hopefully they can steer you the right way. And eventually someone has to make that mistake for themselves.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
You know, I say that to my students all the time, that like anything that I tell you about, I've made that mistake, and I'm trying to help you not make that mistake.
Avoid it. Yeah, absolutely.
Couple more people saying Rebecca Talcott agrees with you. Our RMAI family is amazing. Mr. Lyons says Robinson Martial Arts makes everyone feel welcome and a part of their family. Robert says, at the Holland trip where Drew learned to nap in Dutch.
Yeah, I think there's a picture somewhere of me like this.
He said he's traveled from Scotland to train there. We felt like we joined the family as we stood in our puddles of sweat. And Pete says that's our version of baptism.
Yeah,
It's another one that
if you come to Robinson's and you don't sweat, we're not doing our job.
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah. Like you don't have the ability to do that.
Yeah, there's always a good crew of, the Robinson folks always come to help, and Pete's one of those guys, and Eric,
Absolutely.
and like you said, Jeff and Steve.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's something everybody eventually, well, maybe some people don't, but most people, that light bulb clicks where, for me, my eat on Samdan time frame, that's when it wasn't about me anymore. I had to make some of it about me just to progress, but it was mainly for everybody else. You just want to help people in any way you can. And like I said before, it might not be going to black belt, but it might be just something as simple as getting over the fear of walking into the studio. And some people get it, and I think some people don't. But you just hope that everybody gets it.
Right. Yeah, everyone has their own journey.
Yeah, it's their own time frame.
Yeah.
Everything happens differently for everybody.
You said that in your Edon and Samdan time frame that was for others. So you got to go through and become a Sadan, and now you're a master. What's your focus now as far as training, teaching? Is it the same? Have you felt like it's changed at all?
Training, mainly I'm there to help teach. I want to help people. Training, if I get to sneak in a class, great. My training's no different. I'm going to get on the floor and give everything I have for the other people, right? They're looking at me. They're watching me. I'm hopefully becoming a role model for some of these people, and I want to push myself as hard as I can so they do the same. But yeah, training's kind of second in line for me now. I'm fortunate enough, Master Robinson's there almost every night teaching classes, so I do get an opportunity to jump in a class here and there and train, or be told to put my sparring gear on after I've been standing around a half hour and spar. That's always fun. But yeah, training is second in line for me. I just want to teach people. I want to help them in any way I can.
Was getting to that Sadan, like, was that in the back of your head when you started again? How did it feel to finally get to that point?
It was amazing. It's almost unreal. You don't even think it's happening. When I first came back, once I came back, I was all in. I was at the studio probably 4 nights a week on Saturdays. I know Jamie at that time wasn't training, and she was a martial arts widow, as I've heard other people say, and she didn't understand, why are you going there all the time, blah, 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 until she started. And then she realized. But ever since I came back, I've taught. I got thrown right back into that. And that was probably 75% of my focus as I was coming up. Once I got word that I got invited to Alabama, then I was trying to focus more on myself. But now as a master, yeah, okay, that'd be cool to continue to advance, but I can help just as many people where I'm at now. I just had a thought and I lost it. I hate that when that happens.
It happens.
Comes
So
with age.
while you think about that, we've talked a lot about Master Robinson being a role model. Who are some of the other role models? Grandmaster Baldwin and things like that. Who are some of your other role models? In the martial arts, outside of the martial arts, whatever you.
Oh, inside the list is very long. Your wife,
No.
Mo Brooks. There's so many people, and I'm gonna forget tons of them. One that stood out to me when we went to Holland was Master Harper, the swordsman. I call him that because he did a class and taught the original sword form, and then allowed me to videotape him. And I told him after he got done, his techniques were unbelievable with the sword. I said, "Do you sleep with that thing or what?" And he just laughed. But so many role models. Even in our studio, you tend to pick up watching GUP students and say, wow, I could probably do that better just by watching them. Outside of the studio, I would say my biggest role models would be my mother. She's been there through thick and thin and has always supported me. A lot of people don't know this, but my father passed away when I was 2. So I really didn't know him, but there were a few other people that kind of stepped in and were father figures for me. Master Robinson was one of those. Another one of my close friends now. They were definitely role models. They taught me what hard work was, and I think without that was that was hard work outside of the studio. You're not. I mean, I was picking rocks out of a garden when I was 5 years old, and working here on the farm and doing stuff. And I think a lot of that persistence and pushing yourself to do the stuff that needed to be done helped me push myself in the martial arts. But yeah, there's such everybody is influential in one way or another.
Right. Yeah. Good or bad.
That's true. That's true.
It's funny you said that. I remember, my kids will complain about getting punishments or things like that. One of the punishments that I hated as a kid was getting a 5-gallon bucket and either having to fill it with rocks, pick up rocks out of the grass or fill it full of weeds.
Oh boy.
that was my if I got out of line, it's like, here's the bucket, go fill it full of rocks.
Yeah, we just woke up to a list on the table, and if the list wasn't done by the time Mom got home, there was going to be trouble then. So, typically my brother and I would wait until a half hour before she got home and scramble around and get everything done.
As you do. Well, Master Hobbs, believe it or not, it's been an hour. I hope it wasn't as bad as you thought it was
Wow.
going to be.
No, that
Uh,
wasn't bad. I calmed
as-
down after the first half hour.
yeah, as I say, I'm just a karate geek, who loves to talk to other karate geeks, while other karate geeks listen. Have a very niche market, which was pretty exciting. When I posted your thing that we were going to be talking, I actually finally got to 500 likes. It's weird. I don't really understand Facebook sometimes. I have over 600 people follow me, but 500 people, I just hit 500 likes. So, that's a nice even number. So thank you everyone out there who has supported and watched or shared or whatever. I appreciate, all that you do. And the fact that you continue to watch me talk to people.
Like I said before we started, I think this is a great thing that you're doing. I hope you continue to do it. It's great to have all this information about different masters, whether you know them or not, or you can actually get to know them a little bit by watching some of these, and I think it's a great thing to have for future generations and for all of us now.
Master Khan had the best line about it. And he said that my kids always talk about me and say that I'm their legend. And people are afraid to come up to talk to me sometimes. And it's like, I'm just a guy. If you want to, if you ever want to talk or take a picture or whatever, just come up and talk to me. And that's one of the reasons why I like doing this, where you see the personal human side of
Person side, right?
Yeah, that you
and
wouldn't necessarily talk to.
That's one thing, that's the kind of master I want to be. I want to be the kind that nobody's afraid to come up to and talk to or anything like that. Like I said before, you walked around as a GUP student and even first, second Dan, where these people were intimidating. You were scared to actually talk to them and stuff. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that one. I'm also known as the Twizzler guy. If you hit me up at a tournament or a camp, I typically have Twizzlers in my backpack. If you get hungry or just swing by.
I know we need to take a road trip together, because actually Master Olson as well. I'm a huge candy nerd. Like I'm a junk food guy, and I know you are.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like the trip would be legendary with all the sugared up junk food.
Oh, yeah, we can make it across country without sleeping.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely not a role model for my eating habits.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Master Olson's a big Twizzlers fan, so you just made her day by that. Well, thank you again, sir, for joining me. I appreciate it, and taking the time out of your schedule. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you're at U.S. Nationals next week, you want to stop by and say hi to myself or Master Hobbs.
Absolutely.
We'll be happy to say hi and talk. So, Tong Su, sir.
Tong Su, sir.
All right. Bye.